right? So while you are writing stories, there are 3 C's which needs to be understood. Okay, 3 C. Alright, what is the first C? Card. Okay, number 2, confirmation. And number 3 is conversation. So any story while writing should have these 3 aspects inbuilt into it. What does that mean? What is a card? Card is nothing but as I saw that. This is your story card. This will tell in plain English language that this is what is needed and why it is needed and for whom it is needed. All the 3 aspects will be covered in that. So for example, as a customer who has booked a flight, I want to cancel my booking so that I can refund my payment or money. Fair enough? As a customer, I want that feature in your website. So what are you doing? You are building the system and you are putting yourself in the shoes of customer and then writing the requirements. So you are thinking now, you are bounding yourself to think like a customer. Are you with me? This is a completely different thought process. Today we go by standards. Refund policy honi chahiye, refund mechanism hona chahiye, ye feature hona chahiye. But now you are thinking like a customer. Now, once the customer gets this, what all is required to make sure that this is appropriate? You would have heard something called as acceptance criteria. That is nothing but confirmation. This is how somebody would make sure that it's working right. A tester would make sure this is what is in place to make sure it is doing what is intended. Alright? So what could be possibly? So once you have built this, so you are telling a developer, once you have built this, please verify that the ticket price minus applicable cancellation fee is refunded to the credit card, bank, customer, whatever it is. Alright? Please verify that the 10% cancellation fee is deducted from refunded amount. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah? So what you are doing is you are upfront telling a customer, your developer or the person who is going to develop this, this is what the business need is, why I am doing it, for whom I am doing it, what I am trying to do it. Okay? And once you have done it, this is how on this yardstick I am going to measure you. आज क्या होता है? डेवलप कर ले टेस्ट केस तो मैंने ऐसे लिखे हैं तो देखता रहेगा. Because you have divided the teams. Right? Alright? Okay? Or even if the customer is, if the tester is trying to do collaboration with the developer, he says, "अरे यार, कटेगा तो पकड़ा जाएगा यार, टेंशन क्यों लेना है, वापस तो यही आना है." Trust me, I have seen that attitude to people. क्यों? क्योंकि मेरे ऊपर प्रेशर है कि मुझे जल्दी से जल्दी डेवलप करके सेट एनवायरनमेंट में डालना है. बट ये प्रेशर थोड़ी है कि फर्स्ट टाइम में राइट डालना है. डाल दूंगा. सेट में तो आप जब कहोगे उस दिन डाल दूंगा. We have created a process to get away from the process. Yeah? We have all done that, whether we agree or disagree. Alright? Okay? So, that's where the problem is. Alright? So, this requires collaboration. Now, the third thing was what? Card, confirmation and conversation. So, whatever you saw in the previous slide is written enough to strike a conversation between the developer who is going to develop and the person who has given this. Alright, you're with me? Okay, yeah. So, the whole idea is that the card does not include all the details. It is left intentionally so that people are forced to start talking. Because when you talk is when you realize that this is what may be required, this may be required, and this might be required. Okay?
So, where to keep this conclusion items? It's not in the card, right?
No. This is just confirmation means, confirmation. It should be in the card. It should be with the story. The acceptance criteria, often you would have heard a word called acceptance criteria. Confirmation and acceptance criteria are the same. It should be with the story. Yes? Yes. Either you are maintaining it in Confluence or in Jira, irrespective of that, it should be there. Yes, it should be part of it. That's how, remember that 4 thing, fully groomed, about to be estimated. Alright? So anything in the top should have this. Otherwise, it cannot qualify to go there. Yeah? Okay? Now, when all this conversation will happen, okay? Throughout this plan, produce, inspect and adapt. This will continue to happen. Alright? So you can't say that it cannot happen. It will happen and it should happen. Alright? Okay? You're with me? Now, yeah. Some other examples. As a bank customer, I want to withdraw cash from an ATM so that I don't have to wait in the line at the bank. Alright? So acceptance criteria can be written in a different ways. Today, nowadays, a lot of teams are talking about VDD and so on and so forth, right? Okay, so there is another way of writing it, that given, when and then. One way was verify, remember I showed you confirmation. So you can write an acceptance criteria or a confirmation like this also. Given, when and then. So this way you can think of all the scenarios. This is another way of thinking all the test scenarios, or all the acceptance criteria. Alright, you are with me? Okay. Yeah, so the question is, what is a good story? Now that's where we'll come about whether it's an epic and so on and so forth. Alright, this is where we will talk about. Okay, so the lowest level is, I said, story. Combination of story is epic, combination of epics is theme. Alright, so what is a good user story? So there is something called as invest. Alright, what an invest means? Okay, I-N-V-E-S-T. Alright, any piece of requirement which is needed if it is independent, not having dependency on any other line item. Alright, second quality it should have. Alright, it should be negotiable. Tomorrow, if you don't have time or money left, you can negotiate. Or tomorrow you can negotiate to say, I can't do this if you want this. I can either take this or this because of the time you have given me. Alright? If it can be negotiable. Alright? Or you can say, why do you need this? Why can't you do this? Because there is already a functionality. There is a report there. Why can't you use it that as opposed to this? Why do you need it? Alright? If something which can be negotiable. Alright? Okay? V is verifiable, right? Valuable, yeah. So it is valuable to the customer, which is going to bring some value to the customer. Alright? Okay? Otherwise, what's the point? The first question is, if in the checklist you say, I have written this requirement and the valuable part is crossed. The first question is, why do you need it at the first place? Alright? Okay? Alright? E means estimatable. If something is estimatable, that means what? It is understood. If I am more predictable that okay, yes, yeah, it is this much. Alright? Then it means I am pretty sure about it. But if my answer is no, I don't know, really, then it means it's a large piece of work and probably it qualifies for that. Alright? So, practically, this is not what Scrum says, practically, alright, as an agile coach. Excuse me. As an agile coach, what I suggest is anything which is less than 1.5 weeks worth of work, including everything, including testing, is a good size of a story. Alright? Is a good, estimatable story. Anything which is less than 1.5 weeks worth of work. Alright? Okay? Fair enough? S means small enough. So it is small enough. Again, estimatable and small enough. That's what I meant. Alright? T means testable, which is testable. Alright? It should be independent enough to be testable. Alright? If it has linkages to multiple, then actually you didn't do a good job in breaking down your stories. Alright? Then what you did is, you just took an RE and you cut it down. That's all. Okay? There was no thought process which was built in. Alright? Okay, and moreover, it will not be valuable also. Anyways, alright. So if you see, all these are linked to each other quite heavily. Alright. So any story which qualifies for this. Alright. Okay. Fair enough. Not going to detail. Okay. Now, as I said, what could happen in a project? You could have a theme or set of themes. Then theme could be divided into epics. Each epics can be divided into stories. Theme over a period of time may evolve, or you may get new themes, but you may get initial epics, and that also can evolve. You may get added into epics, and stories may evolve as you go forward. Alright, it may look like this in the beginning, but you have to structure it. Alright, you have to structure it. These are my epics, these are my themes. Right, Jitu? That's what we spoke about? Yeah. Cool. Okay. Now, in order to bring a theme to division of epics, or an epic to be divided into stories, that's what that is. That iceberg which we saw, right? So initially things will be at a theme level, epic level, story level, which are not sizable, and then at a level where it is sizable. Alright? So your whole process is to bring from here to there. But in order to do that, whomsoever is doing that, whomsoever is responsible, if the team is responsible themselves, right? Actually in Agile Scrum teams, the team is responsible to bring it to that level. Obviously the inputs will come from the product owner. Because who is the guardian of a product backlog? Product owner. But that does not mean necessarily that he or she is responsible of writing the stories. That's why Scrum says everybody should write the stories. Alright? Okay, but you may choose to have a specific skill or a special skill within part of your team called a BA who may write the stories. But he or she cannot do it alone to put it in such a way which is understandable by everybody in the team. So what does he need? He needs time of these people during the sprint to help him refine it and write it in such a way which is understandable by everyone. Do you agree with me? Now the question to all of you is, do you do that today? This is the biggest, if you ask me, the biggest problem of any organization. Forget about fidelity. The biggest problem of any organization is this. Alright? I'll come back to that in a few slides. So for that, Scrum talks about a ceremony called Product Backlog Grooming. Alright? So while you are in this produce, you are doing these daily stand-ups, you are spending some amount of time to invest in this backlog so that it is understandable for future produce cycles or sprint cycles. You with me? Yes, no, maybe? Very good. So we'll come to that. Okay? Okay, so what is a product backlog grooming? Each sprint, the dev team and the product owner get together to look ahead of upcoming 2 to 3 sprints. That, remember that top of the iceberg? How did it become that level? Because the team gave him some time. Alright? Okay? The dev team gets into more detailed understanding so that the basic questions are gone. Alright? Okay? This enables the dev team to enter sprint planning with right understanding of the backlog. Today what happens is, a lot of teams which claim to be agile teams, they do sprint planning meeting, but that is where they first time see the requirements. And hence, when you ask them to estimate it, they are clueless. In fact, it is not fully baked up to their mark. And that's when the problem starts. Alright? Okay? So what that means is, the message is this, that every sprint, out of the capacity of a developer, some capacity has to be kept for this grooming purpose. Okay? Fair enough? Okay. So, now, let's understand one more concept. Okay? Some of you who have been to the foundational course I spoke about, alright? We have spoken something called as, iterative and incremental. Okay. How many of you know there are 2 words called iterative and incremental? Come on, don't feel shy, yeah? मैंने अपनी गर्लफ्रेंड का नाम थोड़ी पूछा है. Everybody knows that. Are they two same things or different things? Different. All right. Who would like to take a stab at it? What is iterative?
The same thing if you repeat.
Same thing again and again.
It is in nature, but not progressive.
So anything not progressive is iterative.
It is repetitive in nature. So,
मतलब मैं रोज जूता पहनता हूँ तो that is iterative. बट एक दिन सुबह पहनता हूँ, एक दिन शाम को.
you would have probably two different cycles.
Two different cycles. Okay, I like that answer also. Okay. So what is increment?
Progressive.
Progressive. Can it be iterative?